We made it. We're
We're
live.
here.
We are live
Yay.
on the. Yay, we're live.
All the way from Orlando to
Nanaimo.
BC.
Nanaimo. Oh, you're not in Nanaimo today.
I am
are
not
you?
in Nanaimo. I am in Yubo.
I gotta tell you. Well, first we should
Yep.
do a proper introduction because I was gonna get all excited about Yubo, but you and I are super excited today to be sitting down with our guest, Morgan Carey,
Yes.
founder of Real Estate Webmasters, dear friend of ours and longtime
Business partner.
business partner. Morgan Carey, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us or having me. I guess we're all individual right now out here in on the lake. We're all staying away from each other, but no, excited to be here. I kind of wish it was 90 degrees and not 48 degrees. We're talking about weather.
But you're in Yubo, and Jeff and I had the pleasure to join you at the Carey Lake House this last summer, and it's
Yeah.
stunning there. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah,
I
no, it's
remember the
super
view.
nice.
Right
I mean,
behind.
honestly, it hasn't been raining in the daytime and it's been raining at night, so it turns everything super green. And I mean, the lake, I don't know if you can see it behind me, but it's just glass right now. And I'm looking forward to sort of puttering around here this weekend, getting it all prepped and ready for you guys to come back out and maybe bring the kids once all this situation is done and maybe do some boating.
Nice.
You know it. We're coming for sure. So, Mr. Funk, what brings us together today?
Well, a bunch of things. I mean, we just like talking to Morgan, but we do have a special announcement. We went live with our website, realtyinorlando.com, that was built by Real Estate Webmasters. Been at it, custom website,
Yay.
been at it for a while, haven't we?
Yeah. When did we start? We started in the summer. Is that?
We started
September.
September. Yeah, August. We started talking about it in August. So I think we started working on it in September.
I'm having
I
to count
actually
in my
think,
hand.
Morgan,
That's
we
like 6
started
months,
it-
7 months.
I think we started it sitting in that exact seat you're sitting in
Pretty
right now
much.
in that room. That was
Yeah, well,
August.
Quite possibly. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. Been a journey, and really appreciate sort of, especially you guys coming out. I mean, that was such a special treat to, obviously we know each other well, not just online, but we spend a lot of time together at conferences and things of that nature. But it's extra special to have you guys out at campus and out at our house, and I think it made the project extra special too.
Well, I know the two of you are going to talk some techie things because that's what you guys do, and it's super, super important. But can I just please first say that one of the things that I admire the most about our long-term relationship that we've had with Real Estate Webmasters, it's going back to 2014, I think, right?
Yeah, 2014.
Is we partner with REW for so many reasons. The tech forward platforms, all of the things that you provide, but I love your culture in your business. I love that REW gives back to the community. I love that you take care of your staff and employees the way you do, which we've seen firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
That's important because that is indicative of then providing a service level that allows us to improve our service level. So I just want to say that, and then you guys can go techie.
I appreciate that.
So, well, tell us a little bit about how you came into the real estate world, the website world.
Yeah. So, just a quick backstory. I think I'm just a nerd by nature, and I kind of got into this through the search engine industry, and I was the very first SEO guy, and I founded a consulting company called SEOguy.com, and used to work with big companies, Google and Adobe and Digital River and companies like that. And I started taking on my own projects. I mean, obviously I worked for a lot of big companies, but I built my own assets, built my own websites. I got big into the education space. I helped put the University of Phoenix on the map. I was one of their largest lead generators. And I sold that business, the education side of the business. And I realized that I really like niche marketing. I really like focusing on taking on a market and that I found interesting, and just diving deep into it. And I already had some real estate customers. Actually, some of them are still here, guys like Gary Ashton in Nashville and Mark Rasmussen in Sarasota, et cetera. I mean, they've been with us. We just had our 16th birthday on April 9th, and they've been with us the entire time. So like, that's pretty exciting to have your very first customers still be customers. And yeah, no, it's just, obviously I'm also an entrepreneur, and I love, building businesses and whatnot. And real estate is the cornerstone of just any economy. And so it surrounds us. It's not just about the web and what I do, but I mean, I buy and sell homes, I build homes, I do commercial real estate, and my wife is a realtor. Um, and so it's just interesting in so many different ways. So it's great to be online with respect to real estate and be, a part of the marketing side, which is what I really love to do, build technology and do marketing, but also to be able to learn from, entrepreneurs such as yourself about, markets and how they work, and how to make money in real estate, how to be an investor, how to improve the value of your home if you're trading up, all that sort of stuff. We get to learn so much about the real estate industry because we work with folks like yourself who just are at the top of the game when it comes to real estate for consumers. So that's pretty exciting.
Now, there's been a big evolution from my first website we built was in '98. So
Yeah.
a real big evolution from there. When people say, what do you want a website for? But I think my first real estate website was in 2007. Yeah. And there's been so many evolutions, whether it's SEO or if it's pay-per-click or how sold data, all these different aspects of the website. What is the thing that you're most excited about that has been coming over or is here now from the last couple of years?
Well, I think the answer is different because of the climate today. I think we're going to see an explosion of online consumer behavior in terms of, like, we've always had virtual tours and walkthroughs and things of that nature, but I think now everyone has a Zoom account. Everyone has a G Suite account, because of COVID and because of Corona, people are becoming, out of necessity, familiar with and more comfortable with the concept of consuming content online as opposed to in person. And so I think coming out of this, I don't know if I'm the most excited about it, but I think it's what's going to accelerate the most is the consumption of real estate online, right? So, you've got realtors out there right now. They're literally, we're working on a call to action right now, which of course we'll put on your website as well, where you can click and say, instead of I want to view this home, you can say, please go view this home for me and just video me, awesome. Right? Like just video chat. You walk around with your FaceTime and you open the drawers. You can do all that. There you go. You got your 360 camera. Is that a Ricoh? Is that a Ricoh Theta?
It's a Theta Z1. So
there you go.
It's the good one. And we have been doing video tours of the properties now, and talk about being able to do a showing. It's like being in person where you're talking about the home and you're saying, look at the ceiling, look at the ground. Don't look at me because I'm on the camera too.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to nudge us to go into this point that I do know with realtyinorlando.com. We have a really cool feature, which is our enhanced listings, to which we are placing those 360 tours on.
Yeah.
So I'd like to hear from both of you. What do you think are a couple of the key differentiators that we just launched on our website, realtyinorlando.com?
Well, one, the aspect that we can put 360s in the site, that is awesome. We are really taking off on that. So that's been a big part of what we wanted to build the site around, is doing 360 video. So that was really exciting. I do think that as the consumer progresses and as we come out of this, that they're going to be more educated, that if the realtors are doing their job and documenting the homes like we can now, that maybe the consumers are taking in all this information, that when we come out of the other side of this, that maybe they don't need to see 10 houses anymore. Maybe they want to see 4 homes. And because they're so documented and it's just efficient. It could be a much more efficient process on there. So I think we've really set that website up to give the customers the most amount of information out there.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I'm similar vein. I mean, I love the idea that not only do you have the features and by the way, we have the ability to implement stereoscopic as well. So that means when you have side by side 360, if people want to put on their VR goggles,
Mhm.
that's a very exciting thing. You know, because again, VR, I think, was taking off very slowly in real estate and elsewhere as well. But I think you're going to see now an explosion of that because people are going to say, yeah, they trust a little more because they were forced to go online because they can't visit homes in person. But now that they've been forced to do it, I think they're going to like it, right? If you can just look up and look around because your realtor like yourself has done a great job doing 360 tours, you know, they're going to be far more comfortable, like, because they can look. They don't have to, you know, there's no like, oh, they didn't show me that corner, right? You can look around with your goggles on and you can literally, it's like you're there. And an interesting side effect to that, and I think an interesting side effect to this whole Corona thing as well, is the environmental effect, right? The reality is that if you need to see less homes, you're driving less, right? So there's actually an environmental impact to being able to consume real estate online in a virtual way, which is really exciting. And I think prioritization wise, people understand more now than ever that how valuable time is. And so if you're saving all that time, you know, to your point, you might want to consume 100 houses, but you don't need to drive to all of them. Maybe there's 5 that you really want. Imagine you didn't have to go through that experience where you drive up to the house and you look at the yard and you go, yeah, I don't even need to see the inside. What a waste of time and traffic and stuff, right? So to be able to solve that with technology is a really exciting thing. I think I love the new search feature. We're still dialing it in, of course, but I think one of the things we'll see on your website and from a lot of the top end providers is they're going to start adding even more search like the MLS features, right? We talked about this before where your value is not, you know, having some hidden access to the MLS. Consumers want that. Consumers want to be able to push the buttons. They're smart enough now and they get it. And so giving them lots of really robust search options and mapping options and stuff like that to really help them do their own research and whatnot. You know, obviously side by side search technology and stuff, but that way you can focus on bringing your real value. And that is, you know, obviously on the buyer side, it's your knowledge of the local areas and you know, we talked about before the shops and the, you know, the coffee shops and the breakfast spots and the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. The negotiation value, the counseling value sometimes between buyers and sellers. And same thing on the seller side, right? It's you are the local experts and you are the negotiating experts. And that's your first and best use, right?
Absolutely.
Giving them the book like you used to do in the 90s is not your value, right?
No.
So let the consumer do the journey.
You were talking about the search functions, and one of the favorite things that we did on realtyinorlando.com was we on our MLS, our school zone searches are input by realtors, and it's not a mandatory field, so the schools are not reliable.
Well, because the data is blank in the MLS and the data is omitted in the searches that you see throughout all the syndicated sites, right?
Right.
That creates a gap.
Yep.
So your resolution together with REW was?
We got the maps from the actual school zone, from the counties, and put it into the website and geotagged all the listings to those maps. So we are pulling more properties and more accurately than the MLS. So we actually have on realtyinorlando.com now a higher search function than we even have on the MLS, which is really cool.
Right. And that's a lot of cost and a lot of effort, right? Like just to find. No, but it is, right? But so tell me why you did that. Why are schools so important in Orlando? Like because I'm Canadian and I live in a kind of, you know, every school is great place, right? On Vancouver Island. So I'm fortunate, but is there a big disparity? Like does the school zone matter a lot to people there?
It does. It's very important. And the school zones are, if you're not in that zone, you're not going to that school. So you could have a house that is across the street and there could be a big value difference. It looks same neighborhood, same area, but just because they are right across the street and zoned differently, it can impact the value of the home there.
The differentiator for geotagging your school districts is that most all of the sites that I'm aware of that exist currently that show school data is based on the data that is input from humans, i.e. the realtors. So
Yeah.
either the data can be input incorrectly out of human error, or it's omitted altogether. As Jeff said, our MLS in particular doesn't force that field to be entered as a listing agent, which creates a huge gap. So I know many might say, yeah, but I can see school districts on any real estate website. There's a ton of them. And I'll say, I understand that, but it's
Yeah.
based on inaccuracies. So by geotagging,
Yeah, there's data.
yeah,
There's just data missing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
yeah,
You guys have
Many
done a
times.
special thing. Yeah.
Many times you'll see on some of the national websites that will show you the schools that are closest to that home, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the home that they are zoned for,
Right.
which is really important. So that was a huge thing. And not only can we say, hey, we want to find out what elementary school this home goes to, we can actually pick the elementary, the middle, and the high school, and it will tell us which homes are zoned for those three schools. So it'll
Right.
omit all the others. So it's more of an end, which is really cool. And I don't know anybody else that is doing it or another company that is able to offer anything like that. So kudos to what you guys were able to, how we were able to think of an idea and you were able to figure out a
execute
solution.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think consumers recognize, unless we point out the value, right? I don't think consumers recognize the difference, right? Oh, everyone has a school search. Well, yeah, like if we should actually come to think of it, we should do an analysis of like compare your site to the MLS. You know,
We
I
have.
think we need to. No, but like a video, like we should do like
Yeah.
a help educate the consumer as to why.
Good idea.
You know, like you can go here and you can see 50 properties, but did you know you missed 25, right? Like, and you know, I think because a lot of those properties are missing, they, you know, there's a big opportunity for the buyers, right? To get in, there'd be less competition because people might be looking for a specific school zone and not seeing it on the MLS, for instance, right? But really it's in that school zone. So you really can provide some special access to those buyers for those areas, right?
It's all about making the customer more educated
Yep.
on the
Yeah.
site, on anything that they can do.
I'm curious, Morgan, what is one of you mentioned searches, which obviously is awesome, but what is one of your favorite features in realtyinorlando.com?
Well, I like the new communities pages. I think, you know, obviously one of the things that, you know, you all focus on heavily, which is really important is, and I think it matches up really well with your sort of your promise for your customers is that you are the local experts. You know everything about the markets, etc. You don't just say that. You put in the time personally to tour all the areas and stuff, but you also have phenomenal content on your site, which of course benefits the seller. When buyers are coming to your site, they're able to really learn about a neighborhood and whatnot. So like you've just done a ton of work on the communities pages, you know, and obviously we design them and they're beautiful and they showcase the properties and everything. But the real value there is all this content work that you guys are putting into it that make this great looking thing also be highly valuable to the consumer because it has such great content on it. And we're doing things like auto calculating the statistics for the average sales price and days on market and stuff like that. So we're really able to showcase, you know, list to sell percentages, all that kind of stuff. So a consumer can instantly, if they don't know the area, become educated on the area. And if they do know the area, they can get an update on things like how long it's going to take to sell, what those averages are and stuff. So I really like that feature.
Another thing that we added, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but on each of the community pages, not only do they have the stats on there for what's going on with the community, like you said, the average pricing and how long they're on the market, but there's a one-click button to show them the last year of sold properties in that specific community. So we now are giving the customers a chance to theoretically do their own CMAs to look and see, okay, here's all the homes in that community. Well, I'm looking at a 4-bedroom home between 500,000 and 600,000, and they can just pop that in. And here are the homes in that specific community that sold in there, and look at the pictures and see exactly what has happened in the community. And that they're super knowledgeable now.
Right. And I believe there's an upgrade coming soon for additional photos to the sold property. So that's fun too. So you can I mean, that's a nosy neighbor thing, right? Where you can, even as a seller, right? Like you before you list your home, you can kind of check out what the condition of the other homes were that were sold, or to really get a comparison of yours to theirs, right?
You said this earlier, giving as much knowledge as we are possibly able to provide to the customer is the most important thing. And I'm really proud about how our website has grown over the years and how this newest launch of realtyorlando.com is just hit it out of the park.
Absolutely. We've had friends and family and customers come back to us already just telling us, wow, you guys, it's really, the aesthetics of the site are great. The search features are so much better than the previous version. And that just is evolving. I think I might have saw a message that you were working on the search features and the new listing pages. So.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we have some tools or some features coming out, like the ability, for instance, to request, a virtual but in-person tour, so like a FaceTime tour or a Zoom tour or whatever. So that's coming, and then we also have a new flyout that we're working on, which really, the more and more, robust your search is, obviously, the more effort you need to put into sort of organizing those search fields and whatnot. And so we're working on some new panels to sort of reorganize and really, just put the power of search in the consumer's hands, right? And if you look at like a Zillow or something, they're at a disadvantage because they're a national portal, right? So their search features have to be able to accommodate all markets. And because of that, they can't really be hyper specific, right? Because some markets have horse properties and some don't. Some have oceanfront and some don't, etc. So they can't have oceanfront buttons and horsefront property buttons, etc. They can't be the hyper local resource. So when you're trying to be everything to everyone, you're kind of nothing to no one, right? And that's where the value of people like yourselves, when you really invest hyper locally in content and technology, you can win against Zillow, and you can win eyeballs, and you can win, consumers and their loyalty, because you have just better features. And it's not a knock on Zillow. Zillow's doing a great job as a national portal, but they just can't be specific to Orlando because that's not the only area they service.
Well, you bring up, that's actually a good bridge for something that Jeff and I encounter quite often. And this is more talking about when we have questions from fellow real estate agents, other team leaders in the real estate industry, or even broker owners. And the question is, should I have a website like yours? And it's kind of a loaded question, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, I sell websites to realtors, and the reality is there's a whole spectrum in terms of what's available, even through us. But I mean, there's choice everywhere. But what I would say is that what everyone needs to walk before they run, right? And the reality is that what you've done, the only reason you can do it is because you have so much experience and you put in so much effort. Like Jeff, you hand coded your first websites, right? Like you understand what it takes to build a great website, and you understand the patience and the effort required for SEO and all those things. If you're not prepared for the ordeal that comes with, like, because this is like, it's different. It's the difference between buying a spec home and building the Empire State Building, right? Like it's all real estate, right? So what I would say is that, realtors should have a wonderful website for their consumers. It's the place that their brand, is showcased. It's a place for them to, reach out to them, blogging, etc. But everyone should go through the basics first. Everyone should get a really great looking website with a great home search and great content and blogging and all that sort of stuff. But they need to learn how to use that. And then they can graduate to the next step, which is, maybe customizing some things, right? Doing some search, doing some, some additional brand work, whatever. But when it comes to building true technology features, like this whole concept of the schools that you guys built, right? You need to be financially prepared, and you need to have a great idea, and you need to have the ability to execute. So like, it wasn't just, let's search schools, right? There's a whole analysis, business analysis that needs to happen. You need to go find the data. You need to then like like people don't know, like you have to have technologists look and evaluate that data just to see if it's possible. Even that costs money, right? It's
the data was
right.
yeah, it took a while. I can remember you know a couple times REW coming to us and saying,
Square peg round
where,
hole.
do you have it yet? And I'm like, I'm working on it. You know, the guy, he just came back from vacation. You know,
So,
it's
yeah. So
not
back
the
to your
easiest thing to
question.
get to,
You know,
and
you guys are aspirational. That's like asking every realtor whether they should have a brokerage. It's not for everyone, right? Some realtors are going to be really good at being a realtor and they're going to be just that, and it's where they should stay. And that's where you should get your out of the box with, let's say, Webmaster's website, right? Because it runs perfectly as it is. There's nothing wrong with it if you're an individual, you know. And some people will branch off and become teams or become brokers or whatever, right? But it's not for everyone. Customization at the level, like, you know, you guys over the years are six figures in customization, you know, like, let's be honest. And that's, you know, hopefully there's a great return on investment there, but that is not for everyone. Just like not everyone needs to have, we talked about this earlier before the call, not everyone needs to have a race car, right? Race cars are expensive. They're expensive to build and they're expensive to maintain. And yes, if you really are trying to win a race, you need one. But if you're just commuting, there's nothing wrong with a BMW or a Mercedes or something nice that gets you from A to B, that out of the box, so it has a warranty and does all the things you need it to do, right? So people should understand a nice car that gets you to work is out of the box. A race car is what you guys have done, right? And you're in different races. There's a difference between a commute and a race.
absolutely. One of the things that we hear from agents, especially when they're coming from maybe other brokerages over to our team, is I've done online leads. They don't work.
Right.
And
Oh, that
yeah,
question.
it's
Oh.
always it's an amazing question. And I always tell people, you know, listen, I know agents that door knock. I would be miserable door knocking. I would absolutely, for lack of better words, I would suck at door knocking because I have no desire to walk around Orlando in the summer in 90 degrees in a suit. It just wouldn't work for me.
But what you
Right.
have been doing is converting online leads since
Yes.
the brink of dawn,
Yeah.
essentially. So Morgan, what are your thoughts on the online leads don't work?
Well, it's, you know, Jack Miller from T3 did
Excuse
a
me.
good job talking about this, is that there are different personality types, right? And online leads do not work for certain personality types, right? Door knocking does not work for certain personality types, etc. Right? So it depends on where your skill set is. Like a lot of companies actually do evaluations, you know, like personality tests and things of that nature. Because if you are a, you know, a high D performer versus an S or a C or whatever, right? You're going to have different strengths and weaknesses. So for people who are not sort of process-minded, methodical, combined with charisma, online leads don't work. It's true. You should do what's good for you, like whether that's networking, whether that's, you know, door knocking, whatever it is, right? But online leads, obviously, we've probably done hundreds of billions of dollars in transactions through online leads in the last 16 years. I want to say probably closer to $1 trillion, right? We power some of the most, you know, the most popular, some of the most highly trafficked websites, and a good portion of the deals that come from those websites come from online leads, because that was the marriage of, just like with us, you know, the skill set with the function, right? And so online leads absolutely do work very well for a certain segment of the people. And so you know, it's nice when you already know they work for you. So like, and for us to receive a customer like yourself, where you're already in tune with that process, you understand the value of you know, CRMs and technology and whatnot, it's great. But that's, again, back to the website question. That's why people should go out of the box first, so they can test it inexpensively. A couple $100 for a month, for a website a month, a couple $100 for leads a month, and see if it is your thing, right? Like, that's nothing wrong with that, right? You know, you got to commit to a process, right? Especially right now, it's 180 days of working leads every day. You have to understand what you're supposed to do. But I mean, for people who really focus on it, it's 2 to 5% conversion, and leads are cheap. relatively. Leads are 10 to 20 bucks a lead. Most people can generate 3 to 500% ROI on their lead investment if they work their leads. Jeff, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, it happened there. So you just said the 2 to 5% conversion. I think that is a mindset that agents have to grasp. And that's where agents come in and say, online leads, they're horrible. Well, if you know that you're going for 4%, then every no that you get is getting you closer to that yes. Yep. And you're only going to get 4 out of 100, but the numbers work. And so you kind of have to, sometimes it feels like, you have to just get used to hearing no.
Right. And that is a skill set thing, right? Handling rejection is a skill set thing, and handling a certain volume of rejection, or even like people need to recognize that when someone doesn't call you, like if you get 100 leads and you call all of them and only 50% of them get back to you, that wasn't 50 rejections, right? Like they gotta change their mindset. It's not all rejection. There is some rejection, right? But use your math. If you got 4 deals out of 100, and an average commission check is $10,000. It's $40,000 in commission for those 100 leads. And those 100 leads, what's that?
I said, go find it.
Right? Yeah. But those 100 leads are, $1,000 to $2,000 in cost.
Right.
That's it, because it's about $10 to $20 per lead if you average out the cost of your platform, right? It's not, and there are other platforms like Zillow that we talked about that some people benefit from. They have a much higher cost and a much higher conversion, right? So maybe you only want to call 10 people for 4 deals, and that's cool too, but you're probably going to pay $100 to $200 a lead in that case, right? Because they're further down the funnel, right? It's all relative.
Morgan, you had a post on the REW forums not too long ago that really spoke to me, and something that I've had a bit of a soapbox on for a while now is that the challenge we have in the industry for those realtors and broker owners and team leaders watching is the definition of what a lead is, and specifically an online lead. An online lead in our world is someone registers on our website. It is someone knocking on the door is opening, and it's giving the agent and the team the chance to earn the relationship to hopefully serve them in their real estate needs. Yep. It's not a transaction on a platter.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity.
You're not an order taker. Yeah, it's not somebody's not walking in and saying, "I'll take this house, please."
It's nice when that happens. It does happen.
It does happen, but it happens more and more if you have more and more relationships that you're managing, right? Like they talk about luck, right? The harder people work, somehow the luckier they are, right? That's not really luck.
You were just talking about the cost per leads, and that always brings us into a conversation of SEO versus pay-per-click.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a lot of agents that just say, well, we've done a lot of SEO over the time, and we've been very successful, and we've been doing it now for 13, 14 years. Mm-hmm. And people will say, well, I'm just going to do like you did and do SEO, and I'll be getting leads, where they don't understand that for us, that took a long time to develop, to get high up in the ranks in the SERPs. What do you suggest for agents that are just getting into it? Do they go the SEO route? Do they go the pay-per-click route?
I don't actually suggest that anyone gets into SEO, right? The reality is that, and I'm not just saying that so that your competition doesn't get into SEO, but SEO has evolved. Search engine optimization has evolved over the years to where, it is so authority-based, and there are so many authority websites out there like yourself that go back to the race analogy again. Imagine it's a 200-mile race and your competition is the same speed as you and they're already 100 miles ahead of you. You will never catch them. Right? And that is if you are as good as your competition. So I would say that SEO is probably 10,000 times harder to succeed with than pay-per-click. Right? Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing SEO. And I know that is exactly the opposite of what I just said, but you should be doing SEO not for SEO, right? Because the fundamental tenet of SEO, the fundamental tenet of Google in the first place, is that they want to provide a positive user experience to the consumer. So if you treat SEO instead of as an intent, if you treat it as a byproduct, as a nice add-on, right? Focus on your content, focus on what your consumers really want, then you will eventually get SEO benefit out of that, right? As long as SEO doesn't change in 2 to 5 years, which we can't predict anyways. But if you adopt the mindset that you're not doing it for SEO, you're actually producing content that is unique and useful to your consumer, then let SEO take care of itself. Don't take on SEO as a function. Because anytime someone does that, they get stuck in the mindset of keywords and tagging and technical SEO. And actually, Google doesn't care about that. Google cares about the user experience, and they want to provide the best user experience possible. So I would say focus on your content, not on your SEO, and the SEO will take care of itself if you've got an SEO-friendly platform. But if you're looking to spend marketing dollars that have a trackable ROI, social media, pay-per-click, things of that nature, even the Zillows of the world, depending on what your model is, they're near term, they're measurable, they're controllable. You can pay $500 for pay-per-click 1 month, 5,000 the next. You can pause it when you're on vacation. It is a much more flexible, much more manageable thing. So I would say most people, I just focus on great content. And if you need lead generation, do the things that will get you leads right away.
I remember talking to somebody years ago, and we always tell them that we did a lot of organic leads. He goes, "No, I just put my credit card down when I want leads. They come in, and when I don't need them, I take them off."
That's great.
It's
right?
true.
Absolutely. It is absolutely true. It's absolutely far more scalable. And it gives you the benefit. I mean, SEO doesn't give you the benefit of instantly, like if you acquired a brokerage or another team or whatever you did and you need to double the leads, you can't do that in SEO, right?
No
SEO
throttling.
yeah,
No throttling.
exactly, right? SEO produces what it produces, and it
Yeah.
grows or shrinks depending on competition over time, etc. Whereas, yeah, you need 100 times more leads this month, go get them. Leads are cheap. Leads are easy. People need to understand that leads are a commodity that have been solved for a long time. And if you're not with a vendor who understands that, switch your vendor. Because anyone should be able to, and it's not an REW plug. I mean, there's commissions, there's Boomtown. There's lots of great websites out there that, if you're in that top tier, just turn on the tap whenever you want.
Well, I know you're so generous and modest that you're like, it's not an REW commercial, and that's great. I get it. But listen, we have to say that we've been with REW for a long time. And when we first started, we were an individual agent, right? I was with you, but I was unlicensed at the time. I was just getting my license at that time. And we've grown so much with REW. I mean, at that time, you were probably about 7 or 8 million in production by himself. And then now we're a team of 15 with over $50 million in production. We've grown quite a bit.
And sponsoring the Orlando Magic, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
There's that too, which we can't wait for them to open up again.
So we're looking forward
COVID.
to some basketball games.
Oh my God. So just to interrupt you, I am wearing a crappy throwback REW jersey that I found. Yeah. It's got the old branding and it's got, it's so embarrassing. I had to wear it. I found it at the lake house and I'm like, what is this?
I love it though. That's some memories there.
Yeah.
But it also remains to be mentioned that REW has a sense of community. REW is where Jeff and I first learned what it meant to collaborate with really strong agents, because it's the top agents that are affiliated with REW. It's also created a sense of community, which have been a game changer for us in our business. I mean, we've met lifelong friends who have pretty much turned to family. You look at Mitch Riback and Justin Seavey and so many, right? And that community is big. And again, all leading to helping us serve our agents, helping us serve our customer.
Right. Yeah, no, it's one of our favorite parts of REW is that, like being an entrepreneur myself, I think it can be a lonely business. And, the community REW means I get to talk to, other business owners who share challenges like we do and are like-minded, right? It's important to be able to surround yourself with people, you never want to be the smartest person in the room, and I never feel that way. And it's great. I can go in and really, I can add value where I bring my value, but I get so much in return, right? So much in return with respect to how to manage people and the art of the deal and real estate in general. Like, I get more than I give, and that's exciting.
You are very busy right now. I know that you have a lot on your plate. So the fact that you carved time out to join us with the official announcement of the new site. Thank you so much, Morgan.
Yeah, we're really excited. Visit our realtyinorlando.com. And I'm gonna get back to work adding those extra sold photos and do some more stuff. There's lots to come. And thank you guys so much for being friends and customers of REW. And like I said, as soon as this whole travel thing blows over, you guys better get out here with the kids, because we've got some water sports to do. So
Looking forward to it.
I can't
Okay.
wait to lay my eyes on that. Well, hug you
Yeah.
guys, number one. And then second is lay my eyes on that beautiful, beautiful landscape again, because wow.
And I enjoy being up there. I mean, you got all the trails, and that's what I'm thinking. He's like, oh, it's cold, but I'm like, man, you got so many cool
Beautiful.
trails and cool things to do up there.
yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
Count us in. All right. Hug your family. We miss
I
you
will do.
guys. And thank you to you and the entire REW team. We appreciate
Yes.
you.
Morgan
All right,
Carey,
thanks.
Real Estate Webmasters.
Thank
right.
you.
Take
Bye,
care.
Morgan.